So today's thought of the day is embracing silence as a path to growth. Now, if I may ask you, how many of you have ever been stuck in I would say, Mumbai local or Gurgaon traffic during the rush hour, surrounded by hundreds of people, yet felt completely alone with your thoughts? Or perhaps you've experienced that moment when the power goes out during a family gathering and suddenly everyone's phone dies. And for the first time in hours, there's actual silence. So today, I actually want to talk about something we've forgotten how to do in our notification, heavy, always connected world, the art of being quiet. Not just physically quiet, but embracing silence as a secret weapon for growth. Just imagine you're a college student preparing for JEE or NEET, and everyone around you is giving advice. When you were in maybe in class 12th or class 10, board exams, the Indian parents are so hypersensitive. So parents want engineering, friends suggest following your passion, relatives have their own opinions about your future. And in all this noise, have you ever asked yourself what you actually want? And this is where silence becomes your superpower. When we quiet the external chatter, both literal and metamorphical, we create space for self awareness to bloom. Think of it like this: when you're trying to hear your favorite song on the radio, you don't turn up the volume on 10 different stations. You tune into one frequency and eliminate the static. So, self awareness works the same way. In silence, we can finally hear our own voice above the crowd. And that voice that knows you are not cut out for chartered accountancy, even though your family expects it. That voice that whispers you're meant to write, create, or build something meaningful and beautiful. So let me share something relatable. How many times have you had your best ideas in the shower or walking alone, maybe from bus stop to your home? There's a reason for this. When our minds aren't constantly consuming information, like scrolling Instagram, watching YouTube, listening to podcasts, they finally get space to process. I call this mental digestion moments. So, just like your stomach needs time to process food, your minds need quiet time to process experiences and emotions. That awkward conversation with your friend, the disappointment of not getting selected for something you wanted, or the excitement of a small victory. All these emotions need processing time. Indian families often view silence as uncomfortable. Beta, why are you so quiet? Is everything okay? Many times you would have heard it from your mom. But what if being quiet is actually everything being perfectly okay? What if in those quiet moments you're not being antisocial? You are being deeply social with the most important person in your life, yourself. So here's a scenario every teenage and young adult will recognize. You are at a family function, and every auntie has an opinion about your career, your appearance, your life choices. And Uncle Ji thinks you should join the family business. Neighbor aunt insists government jobs are the only secure option. And your cousin is bragging about their startup success. And in that moment, you have two choices: absorb all this external noise as truth, or find your internal compass. So silence helps you do that better. Your inner voice is like a wise old grandmom who's been quietly observing your life. She knows your strengths, your dreams, your fears, but she speaks softly. And if your life is filled with constant noise, social media, news, other people's opinions, you'll miss her guidance entirely. And the most successful people I know, from entrepreneurs to artists to leaders, all have one thing in common. They've learned to create space for silence in their lives. They understand that innovation doesn't come from consuming more information, it comes from processing the information you already have. Think of silence like a fertile soil. Yeah, just be present. It's beautiful anecdote. When you look at a field that's been freshly plowed and left to rest, it might seem like nothing is happening. No crops, no visible growth, just brown earth lying quietly under the sun. But underneath that apparent emptiness, something magical is occurring. The soil is gathering nutrients, moisture is seeping deep, earthworms are creating pathways for roots, and the conditions are being set for extraordinary growth. Without this quiet preparation period, no seed could ever flourish. So, your mind in silence works exactly the same way. On the surface, it might feel like you are doing nothing, not being productive, not achieving, not progressing. But underneath, your thoughts are organizing themselves. Your creativity is recharging. Your intuition is sharpening. And your emotional roots are growing deeper and stronger. So, the most profound insights, the clearest decisions, and the most authentic directions in life often emerge from these seemingly unproductive quiet moments. So, here's my challenge for you today. And I promise it's simpler than any morning routine you have seen on social media. So, today, find 10 minutes for complete silence. Not meditation with an app, not quiet music, not even journaling yet. Just silence. Sit somewhere comfortable, focus on your breath, and observe your thoughts without judgment. Don't try to solve anything or achieve anything. Just be there, present in that moment. And after these 10 minutes, take out a pen and paper. Yes, actual paper, not your phone, and write down whatever comes up. It might be a worry you've been suppressing, an idea you've been ignoring, or simply the realization that your mind is busier than you thought. And this isn't about becoming a monk or rejecting modern life. This is about reclaiming your right to think, feel, and grow at your own pace. In a world that profits from your constant attention, choosing silence is a radical act of self love. So remember, in the symphony of your life, the most beautiful moments often happen not in grand crescendos, but in the gentle pauses between notes. These pauses don't interrupt the music, they actually give it meaning, depth, and space to breathe. Your growth doesn't always have to be loud, visible, or shareable on social media. Sometimes the most profound transformation happens in the quiet spaces you create for yourself. So give yourself permission to be still, to be quiet, and to grow in the fertile silence of your own being. The world will always be noisy, but your inner wisdom, is waiting patiently for you to turn down the volume and tune in. So, with that thought, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you.